Well, welcome everybody. Thank you all for coming. My name is Albert Flotis. I'm the Deputy Director of the Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority. We do appreciate the turnout. It's very good. Thanks again. I want to go ahead and start off this morning by doing the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to call Anna Bedetas up to the podium so we can start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to call Chaplain Parr up next to start us off with the invocation.
Please be seated for just a few moments. As they say, before I speak, I have something to say. It is generally my privilege, and it is indeed a privilege to be here today, but most of the invocations that I participate in have to do directly with law enforcement, whether it be federal, state, or local. Those of you who have known me over the past 25 years have borne with me as I repeat myself very often, because there's one particular portion of Scripture that I go to almost every time, for that I have no other place to take you. And when I think of what we are dedicating today and what we are considering, we don't think of telecommunicators necessarily as law enforcement. And yet just last September, I was asked to participate in 2 different graduations at the FBI Academy, one having to do with computer scientists, the other with intelligence analysts. And I found myself once again going back to the same passage of Scripture, and I'm going to read it to you again. I ask you to bear with me. Those of you who have heard this many times before, I don't think it can be read too often, and I will apply it to what we are doing today, because I've not generally seen it this way. I'm reading from the book of Romans, chapter 13 in the New Testament. Let every soul be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has instituted. Therefore, whoever resists the authority resists the ordinance of God, and those who do so will bring judgment upon themselves. For rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. Do you want to be free from fear for one in authority? Then do what is right, and he will commend you, for he is God's servant. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword for nothing. And I generally relate that to the .45 or whatever caliber our officers happen to be carrying at that time, pointing out the fact that the technology has changed, but the principle has not. As you can see, this most directly applies to law enforcement and the authority given to them of deadly force. However, as we consider, whether it be computer scientists, intelligence analysts, or telecommunicators, what is your sword? You too are part of the umbrella of authority, protective authority, of all of law enforcement, of all those in authority. And your sword is very specifically your intelligence, your capacity, your caring, your ability, your training, and yes, the technology and facilities that are given to you at your disposal. You too are part, a vital part, of that sword. And yet, as we dedicate this building and all of its technology this morning, it is nothing without you. You, its people, its servants, are everything. And we thank God for you and your faithful service, the part that you have. What a network, what a great cross-section this morning we see here of all that is part of emergency services, caring for this community, this state, this nation. Permit me to pray. Lord God, it is with a very true sense of humility and awe that we are here this morning. We acknowledge before you, the giver of every good thing that we have, that we are a dependent people. We need you at the center of everything that we do and are. And we acknowledge this morning that we are only here at your pleasure. We have an incredible cross-section of servants here this morning to witness this dedication, to be part of it, to participate. Father, we have some that have served for decades that have come to this time. We thank you for their past years of service, their faithfulness. And now, Lord, as we look to acknowledging the fact that you have allowed us to be here in this nation and to continue serving, We are here at your pleasure. We realize this. We acknowledge it. We ask that everything that is said and done here this morning would be for your glory. And we thank you for those who will fill this building with all good things from their lives. We pray for their families, for strength there so that they can do their jobs even more effectively. And we entrust them to you and thank you for them. In your holy name, amen.
So I'm just going to give you a little bit of my history. When I first came on the scene in dispatch in Las Cruces about 21 years ago, can't believe it's been that long, but I remember walking into that building as a new employee and I was just thrown back. I was in awe. I come from a small department, Ruidoso Downs Police Department, where we had a little two-seater, so I thought that was pretty cool what we have over there. Well, over the 21 years, that's changed a lot. You know, just I've been to other dispatch centers, I visited, and just seeing this one being built, you guys are in for a surprise when you go in there today. Some may say that it's been a long time coming. Some say 18 months. Some will say it's 9 years, 20 years. We have an employee here who remembers when she started almost 24 years ago, and she still seems like she's our youngest one, but she made the comment that she remembered when she went into that building, she was told it would be a temporary building. So you could imagine. So we're very excited to get in there, and I'll keep moving on but, for the sake of time. I'd like to bring up the county manager, Ms. Julia Brown.
Thank you, Albert. Good morning. First, let me say to MVRDA, welcome to the neighborhood. We are really excited about this day. For those of you who have been here longer than me, you've been waiting even longer than I've been waiting for it. I want to just introduce a few people. First, I'd like to introduce the dais. You'll be hearing from them later. To my left, Hugo Costa, the Executive Director. Next to him, the Chairman of the Doñana County Board of County Commissioners, Wayne Hancock. The Mayor of the City of Las Cruces, Ken Miyagishima. To my right, you just heard from the chaplain and Mr. Greg Smith, who is the president or the chairman of the board of MVRDA. And Mayor Pro Tem of the City Council. We'll get all those titles in there. And I'm going to leave to the mayor and or the MVRDA chair and the Mayor Pro Tem to introduce other dignitaries from the city who are here. I would like to recognize other county commissioners who are present. Our immediate past chair, Commissioner Billy Garrett. Commissioner Leticia Benavides. Commissioner Ben Rawson. And Dr. David Garcia asked that I convey his regrets that he could not be here in person. He's here in spirit, of course, but he is in some training this morning which will allow him to remain in compliance as part of the Rio Grande MPO, and so we grudgingly excused him from today's event. I want to introduce just a few other people and then turn the mic back over to others who are listed on your program. First, I'd like to ask, other than city officials, if there are any other elected officials present. I see Representative Rick Little at the back, the man with the hat. I see the mayor of Sunland Park. Javier Flores. And help me if there is anybody else.
And Stephanie Johnson-Berg.
Linda Flores and Stephanie Johnson-Burek. I would like to ask Armando Cordero and the Doña Ana County Facilities team to, I think most of them are already standing, but wave so that you can be identified. The staff at County Facilities has been involved in the project since before day one, as has been the county's Information Technology Department. We'd like to ask you all to wave so that you can be identified and acknowledged. I'd like to ask all emergency responders who are present to stand and be recognized and acknowledged. The MVRDA staff, would all of you please stand? Now I want to give a special congratulations to the MVRDA staff. These are, without question, hard-working staffers who have amazingly provided superior service in the face of adversity. Now, what do I mean by adversity? Well, of course, the job itself is difficult, even in the best of times. But have you seen the inside of the old MVRDA building? Okay, then you know what I mean by in the face of adversity. Enough said. So we know that you are especially excited about moving into the state-of-the-art facility. And for those of you who have not yet had a chance to see it, please stay afterward and go on the tour because your socks will be blown off. I would like to ask to recognize the architectural team of Steve Newby. I saw Steve in the back earlier. And the contractor and construction team from White Sands Construction. Would you all please stand? And I'm told that the sheriff just arrived, Enrique Kiki Vigil. Now, when you've been waiting for a project as many years as this one has been in the making, there are, of course, many more people who probably should be acknowledged and recognized by name. And I'm going to give you my apologies for anybody that I have overlooked. But I believe that the mayor and probably the mayor pro tem will have some names to add to that list. And so I'm going to turn the mic over to our new county commission chairman, Mr. Wayne Hancock, for his remarks.
Good morning. Quite a crowd. This has been a long time coming. I think the long time and the amount of time is varied based upon how you're involved with the project and with the 911 center. There are a number of, as you've heard, a lot of people involved in this, but this is a very big deal for this community. This is a very big deal for all of the emergency responders. AMR, Sheriff's Department, State Police, City Police, and all the municipalities. One of the things you may not know is that The address of this facility is 911 Tahoe Place. And it's very fitting that it is that. This facility will go a long way to improve communications for our responders and for the public. Very, very important. There are a number of other elements that go into making this facility function well. County Commission has approved radio services, enhanced services throughout the county in order to make sure that our officers that are out there doing the public's business are able to reach each other and the dispatch center. This is very important for all of us. And with that, I'd like to introduce the mayor of the city of Las Cruces.
But before I begin, let me just quickly introduce my colleagues that I like to refer to as my board of directors that are here today. Of course, you know Mayor Pro Tem Smith. He represents District 2. Then, of course, from District 6 is Councilor Levatino. Representing Council District 3, Olga Pedrosa. Representing Council District 5, Gil Sword. And representing District 4, Councilor Jack Ekman. Representative from District 1, Councilor Cassandra Gandera, asked me to convey her that she could not make it, but she congratulates the partnership for this great building. I have to tell you, it's really nice that we have, I have to also recognize, you'll be hearing from them here in just a moment, but representing Senator Udall, Marco Vergara, and representing Senator Heinrich, Cynthia Hull. But yeah, getting back to the building. Oh, Peter just showed up. Okay, Peter represented Congressman Pierce. Well, as I mentioned, this is a partnership. And one of the things that the city and county trade off is different buildings. And so it was the county who built this building, and we really appreciate our friends there at the county, Chairman Hancock, or Mr. Chairman Hancock and Chairman Garrett. You know, Commissioner Garrett, when you've been chairman more than a couple of years, you're allowed to have that title. We just don't call you Mr. Chairman. He's the Mr. Chairman. You're just chairman. So, but thank you very much, and Julia, for your staff, and Commissioner Rawson, Commissioner Benavides, Commissioner Garcia, for all the hard work. I mean, to put together a building like this, I haven't had a chance to see inside either, but just the outside looks pretty impressive. I'm really excited about seeing what the inside looks like. I also want to thank our communicators for the hard work. This building is for you. Ugo, I can't tell you how impressed I am with your operation, how you train them, how they're able to, under such amazing circumstances, just to remain cool and calm. You know, you call up and say, I can imagine someone calling up and saying, you know, I'm trapped in my car, it's rocking on a ledge, and it's about ready to blow up, and they're really cool and calm and tell them what to do. Boy, if it was me, I'd be like, it's amazing how they just sound so cool and calm and professional. We appreciate them doing it under adverse circumstances. I also want to thank the board for their hard work and doing what they're doing. We appreciate them very much. But last but not least, our public safety personnel. Thank you, Julia, for having them stand. Our police, our fire, our EMS, together with our communicators. This is what it's all about, taking care of our residents, making sure that when you call, that you have someone to know exactly what's going on, where you're at, and dispatch the needed personnel. So it's really a team effort. I want to thank our friends there in Sunland Park, in Mesilla, and Hatch, who are all of our partners. Hatch still is a partner, I think. Okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on the MVRDA board. I just remember it was all the cities, but I don't know if we have any Hatch personnel here, but nonetheless, it's important. Do we? Okay, good. Well, thank you very much for coming down here. Forgive me for not knowing that. It's been, 23 years since I was on the board. I turned it over then to Commissioner Medina back in '96 because he was a former police chief. But nonetheless, congratulations. Looking forward to seeing the inside. And so I'll turn it back over to either Albert or to, okay, I'll turn it back over. Thanks again for coming out.
I'm learning a lot of history myself. So, thank you very much. Next, I'd like to call up a representative from Senator Tom Udall's office for a statement.
Good morning. I'm Marco Grajeda. I work for Senator Tom Udall's office, and I'm honored to be here to read a quick statement from the senator. Good morning, and thank you for inviting me to this important celebration. I'm honored to take part in the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the new Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority. The completion of what is now considered one of the most advanced dispatch centers in New Mexico is truly worth celebrating. In an emergency situation, when every second counts, it's important to provide our first responders and emergency dispatch personnel with the most up-to-date tools they need to do their jobs. This renovated 911 center provides dispatch personnel with the latest equipment and technology needed to link residents with the life-saving emergency response services in Doñana County. It is an understatement to say this technology and work are critical to the health and well-being of the region. Of course, we would not be here without the vision, dedication, and hard work of so many people. In particular, I would like to acknowledge the City of Las Cruces, Doñana County officials, the State of New Mexico, Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority leadership and staff, and the voters who saw the benefit of this wise investment. Thank you also to White Sands Construction of Alamogordo and Steve Newby Architects of Las Cruces for designing and constructing the $8 million facility. Today marks a strong step forward in keeping our community safe and shows broad support from the community for the men and women who have the difficult task of assisting us in moments of great need. As your partner in Washington, you have my commitment that I will also do my part to assist our brave emergency responders and dispatch personnel. Congratulations again to the residents of Doñana County, and I look forward to seeing the new Regional Dispatch Center in person. Sincerely, Tom Udall, United States Senator.
And next up, a representative from Senator Martin Heinrich. Cynthia.
Good morning, and I'm not quite as tall as Marco, but well, I'm very glad to be here today, and I am also grateful for the opportunity to share a brief statement from Senator Martin Heinrich. Dear honored guests, thank you for inviting me to participate in today's ribbon-cutting ceremony. The Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority has been a vital link between law enforcement, fire services, and emergency medical services for residents of Doñana County for the past 26 years. This important $8 million investment in the state-of-the-art facility will ensure that public safety responders are better equipped to offer residents throughout Doñana County a seamless delivery of emergency response services. It takes the cooperation of numerous entities to bring quality projects such as this from a plan into reality. This new 911 center is a smart investment in the safety and well-being of residents of Las Cruces and throughout Doñana County. Our emergency dispatch personnel get critical life-saving information needed by first responders and provide a calming voice that individuals in distress rely on during an emergency. It's a tough job, and one that requires the latest technology and communication systems to achieve the maximum outcomes in emergency situations. I would like to congratulate Doñana County, the City of Las Cruces, and the State of New Mexico for investing in the Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority, and am proud to learn that it will be one of the most technologically advanced dispatch centers in the state. Also, a special thanks to MVRDA Board Chairman and Mayor Pro Tem Greg Smith, Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima, Doña Ana County Commissioners, and the emergency dispatch personnel, law enforcement, fire, and emergency response staff for your commitment to the well-being of residents in Doña Ana County. Please accept my congratulations. Sincerely, Martin Heinrich, United States Senator.
Thank you very much. So his name was mentioned before. Change that around. So I'm going to call up now Mayor Pro Tem and then our MVRDA Board Chairman as well, Councilor Greg Smith.
Thank you all. I have been to many ribbon cuttings and many groundbreakings, and rarely is there this size of crowd. And I think part of that is due to the fact that so many of you have had something to do with making this happen today. So I would like to start off with a mutual applause. Thank you for all that you've done. Thank us for all we've done. But this is an important day, so thank you. Sometimes I dare to think, wouldn't it be wonderful if we didn't need a call center? But human behavior and nature are not predictable enough yet for us to do that. And so I look at this replacement for the temporary facility and go, we are doing something very special here in Doña Ana County and in Las Cruces. Purpose-built, state-of-the-art, connecting, making sure that we are safe and that we're moving forward here. So I look out and I see some of my predecessors as the chairman and on the board, and I want to thank you all for getting us to this point. I'm the lucky guy who gets to be here as the chairman and say, we're opening the new place up. But a lot of work went into this before I got here. And so I very much appreciate that. I appreciate the hard work that the county put in, the hard work the architects have put in, the hard work that the builders have put in. And certainly our responders make it happen in this community. But I've got to go to Hugo and his group and say thank you for the important job that you all do. I am pleased that we are housing you in a much better facility, and thank you for the hard work you do. We have a great crew at the city, in the county, and certainly, as I pointed out earlier, working together to make things like this happen. We will continue to grow here. We will continue to have great things happening here. But this purpose-built facility for this need that we do still have in this community is something that we should all be thankful for. I also want to point out that our legislators, and thank you, Representative Little, for being here and representing all your great delegate colleagues, but there was also a very special effort made at the state level to make sure that there was money for this. So the kind of effort that pulls this all together and makes it happen is something that we can celebrate today. I also am looking forward to getting inside and seeing what we have wrought here. But next, I want to congratulate and thank our director for the MVRDA, the Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority, the 911 call center, Hugo Costa, for all the work he does, and ask him to come up and say a few words. Hugo.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on this momentous occasion. 27 years ago, our civic leaders and public safety chiefs got together and they realized there was a better way of doing things than the status quo. They realized that the handling of emergency telephone calls and dispatching first responders was a needed service that crossed political boundaries on a map and needed to rise above political bickering. They also believed that through cooperative efforts, higher levels of efficiency and cost savings could be achieved. With these goals in mind, the Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority, MVRDA, was formed, becoming the first consolidated public safety answering point in the state of New Mexico. Now, 27 years later, we're still going strong through the hard work and dedicated service of our public safety telecommunications professionals. They are the first responders and that calming voice in times of crisis and need. And I know it's been done before, but I'd really like to recognize again the staff of MVRDA. If you could stand up, and the ones at the back could wave there. Thank you. You guys are what it is, what MVRDA is. Thank you. To say that this ribbon cutting day has been a long time in coming is an understatement. It was 12 years ago in 2005 that we first started talking about the need for a new building to house the MVRDA 911 Center. One morning that year, I met a concerned citizen who came to my office after noticing sandbags surrounding the MVRDA building. He sat across from me and asked me why the countywide 911 Center was housed in a 45-year-old bank building surrounded by sandbags. I don't remember exactly what my answer to him was, but evidently it was not acceptable. About a week later, I was asked to attend a meeting at the Las Cruces City Manager's office. Also present was the Doñana County Manager, all the public safety chiefs from the city and the county, the city attorney, and the city finance director, and that concerned citizen who visited me the week before. The meeting lasted for about an hour, and that concerned citizen, with facts and figures in hand, demanded that something had to be done in the interest of public safety and employee safety. And from that day on, to whoever would listen at MVRDA board meetings, at LEPC meetings, at public safety committee meetings, even at city council and county commission meetings, that gentleman continued to preach the need for this new 911 center. Well, finally, 5 years later, in 2010, something happened. I don't know whether light bulbs started going off or if it was the squeaky wheel getting the grease, but planning committees were formed, feasibility studies were conducted, and a vote was taken, and thanks to the generosity and understanding of the voters of Doñana County, funding was finally granted for a new facility. After breaking ground in 2014, we're finally gathered here in 2016 in the ribbon cutting. I'll say it again, it's been a long time in coming. There are so many people, as others have said, that deserve public thanks for getting us here to this point. So many people participated in the process. The numerous individuals and agencies that promoted the bond vote, those who served on the site selection and architectural firm selection committees, all the individuals who met weekly to design, build, and sometimes redesign the building, and finally the MVRDA employees who have waited so patiently for the new facility while continuing their dedicated service to the residents of Doñana County. If I were to start reading the names on that list, we'd be here for an hour, and I'd probably accidentally forget some people. So forgive me for not doing so. Each of you who participated throughout the process, throughout the years, a valuable contribution. I thank you. You know who you are, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I do, however, feel the need to recognize one individual, and that's that concerned citizen who got the ball rolling and didn't stop. He's a testament for what one tenacious and concerned individual can accomplish. Mr. MVRDA, could you stand, please? Thanks again, Emil. And I'd also like to mention, somebody hasn't been mentioned yet, but most of the planning for today, from the tents to spiffing up the center so you could all tour it, I'd like to thank our Administrative Services Manager, Jennifer Gorm, for her hard work. She's truly our team director, so thank you, Jennifer. And in closing, I know I'm not as talented or as cute as actress Reese Witherspoon. Surprise, right? But I think this is a great occasion to quote a line from the end of her movie, Legally Blonde. And this is for the residents of Doñana County, employees of MVRDA. We did it! thanks again. We're going to do the ribbon cutting, and I think we're going to do a flag presentation first, and then a ribbon cutting. And then I'd like to remind you, please stick around. We're going to have refreshments in the main building, and also we're going to have some guided tours. And if you haven't seen it yet, you need to take a look at the facility that you all voted for. So thank you very much for attending.
So every year there's a week, telecommunicator week, that's dedicated to the hardworking individuals of dispatch. And through that week we have quite a lot of events. We actually have I see a few faces in here that have helped us plan those events. That's usually the second week of April. Well, in April of 2015, we reached out to Congressman Pierce's office to see if they would fly a flag over the U.S. Capitol during that week, and they did. And here to present us with that flag is a representative from Congressman Pierce's office, Mr. Peter Ibarra.
Good morning. I apologize for my delay. I was rushing all the way over here from DC to bring this flag over. Just kidding. With all jokes aside, as many of you know, our senior field representative had a death in the family, and that's Joe Martinez, and so it kind of delayed our office a little today, so I truly apologize for my delay here. But it's an honor to be here to share a few words on behalf of Congressman Pierce and to present this special flag. Statement reads as follows. Dear friends, greetings from Washington, D.C. I would like to express my sincerest gratitude for all of your hard work on the completion of this new 9/11 Emergency Dispatch Center. The effort that brought about this new infrastructure is to be commended and is a testament of what public servants can accomplish together with community leaders to help improve the quality of life and safety of the community. As a small token of appreciation, I humbly present the Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority with a very special flag flown over the U.S. Capitol. Congratulations on your accomplishment, and may God bless you all. Signed, Steve Pierce, Member of U.S. Congress. As the request stated, the flag was flown to commemorate the week in honor of all the emergency dispatchers. And we had the flag flown over the U.S. Capitol throughout the duration of all that week, and we have obtained the official certificate, which reads as follows. The flag of the United States of America. This is to certify the accompanying flag was flown over the United States Capitol on April 12, 2015. At the request of the Honorable Steve Pierce, Member of Congress, I humbly present the Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority with this American flag flown in honor of the opening of the new 9/11 Center located in Doña Ana County. And with that said, I'm turning over the flag to Hugo. It's one of the largest flags I think they're allowed to get, and it's a very special flag.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Let's get your hand on the scissors here too.
Not in front of that.
Right. Yeah, we don't want to have a call to 911 right now.
Why not? We'll try it. Still operating out of the other
On
side.
3, 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Congratulations.